Back to Face the Nation. I'm Nancy Cordes in for Margaret today, and we are back with Republican Nancy Mace and Democrat Khanna. And the two of you are here because the U.S. is facing a so-called childcare cliff that most parents probably didn't know about. On September 30th, just a little over a month from now, $40 billion worth of pandemic-era funding for the childcare industry is set to expire. And without it, up to 70,000 childcare facilities could close, and an estimated 3.2 million children could lose access to childcare. These numbers are really frightening. What can the two of you do about it? And how quickly can you get legislation together so that Congress could consider it before the deadline?
Well, it's staggering, the challenge before us. And Congressman Khanna and I, we've been good friends. We've been great lawmakers together. We've started a Childcare Caucus. Our approaches may be different from time to time on different issues, but our goals are always the same. And these are issues that parents, especially moms, that they care about and we have to address. From the perspective that I'm looking at, you know, we talk about 4-year-old pre-K. We talk about making sure that parents have the freedom and the resources to have childcare options, affordable childcare options. I approach it from a less government regulation standpoint. We have some really crazy regulations in this country. Some places say you have to have a 4-year college degree. Well, that certainly makes it harder to find childcare workers. The increases in cost because of it. Other places say, well, if you're certified in one state, it's not reciprocal in another. And it's just, you know, having some of those approaches that can be easy to fix, fast to fix, not controversial, that can pass out of a Republican-controlled House, Democrat-controlled Senate, and get to a Democrat president's desk to be signed into law. That's what we've got to be working on.
So what do the two of you agree on?
Well, first of all, as divided as we are as a country, 86% of Americans believe that we need more support for affordable childcare. This is something that unifies Americans. We have agreement on more training for childcare workers, paying them more and having more flexibility. We have an agreement on some support, government policy support for childcare. The average cost of a family for childcare is $10,000 a year. And 85% of women say that they can't work because of childcare issues if they're leaving the workforce. So we need a short-term solution, which is continuation of some of the grants and funding, the Childcare Stabilization Act, so we don't have this cliff and that the president signs. And then we need a long-term solution to reduce the cost to families.
Experts say doing that alone would cost $16 billion. Congresswoman, you spoke earlier about the fact that you feel that both President Trump and President Biden presided over too much spending. But a lot of the solutions here, experts say, cost money. Universal pre-K, fully funding the Child Care Development Fund, subsidizing childcare for low-income families. What could you live with, and what do you think you could convince fellow Republicans to get on board for?
Well, I actually think it's less government, not more, that's getting in the way of this. We saw in December of 2018 when the Azar report came through, making recommendations to states about healthcare policy and certificate of need. The same kind of thing could be said for what are some of the easy, low-hanging fruit regulations that we can roll back or eradicate or recommend go away.
Do you think rolling back regulations alone, though, can really get at the
It's a good
problem?
start, because right now we're going to have a very difficult time with the appropriations process because of the amount of spending that's going on, because of the additional supplementals. What are some of the small parts that will make a big difference in a mom's life? And that is one thing that I think a lot of us can agree on. It's not going to be easy. We do some large comprehensive spending package. It's going to have difficulty going through. So I'm looking for the small parts, big difference here policy-wise.
This is an investment that is pro-economic growth. I mean, businesses are losing billions of dollars because we don't have people in the workforce. So it pays for itself. And then you look at the funding, you're talking about less than 1% of the defense budget. We're one of the only countries that is putting $10,000 of burden on ordinary families just to take care of their kids. It's pro-family, it's pro-economic growth, and we should have a consensus in this country to have the government make a difference here.